Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on a skill we use every single day, but so rarely master: communication. Get it right, and you can build empires. Get it wrong, and you can destroy a relationship with a single sentence.
Take this text message. Seems simple, right? But this one little message sent between two longtime colleagues, Mr. X and Mr. Y, sparked a conflict that completely shattered their friendship. The damage was real, and it took months to even start picking up the pieces.
So how does something so small cause such a huge disaster? It's a really important question, because let's be honest, this kind of thing happens all the time. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what went wrong here and, more importantly, how you can avoid the same trap. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so to really understand where things go off the rails, we first have to appreciate just how fundamental communication is to everything. This isn't just about talking, it goes way, way deeper. It's a core human need. I mean, think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For early humans, being able to communicate and cooperate was literally a matter of life and death. And that deep, hardwired need for connection, it's still in us today. It directly impacts our mental and physical health. People with strong communication skills actually have less anxiety and manage stress better. And for your career, it's one of the absolute top skills employers are looking for. So yeah, this isn't some soft skill, it's a survival skill. So if it's so incredibly important, why are we so often kind of bad at it? Well, it's because communication operates on a set of invisible principles, these hidden rules that we break all the time, usually without even realizing it.
The first principle is that you can't not communicate. It's totally inescapable. You think you're opting out by staying quiet in a meeting? Nope. Your silence, your crossed arms, that look on your face, it's all sending a message, and probably a very loud one. You're always communicating something. Second, it's irreversible. You ever have that feeling, that gut-sinking moment right after you hit send on an angry email? Or say something you wish you could just grab out of the air and take back? Well, you can't. You can apologize, sure, you can try to clarify, but you can't erase the original impact. Once the words are out there, they're out there for good. And third, it's complicated. Seriously. One of the biggest myths is that communication should be easy, but it's not. You're trying to manage your words, your tone, your body language, your shared history with the person. The potential for misinterpretation isn't just possible, it's pretty much always there. And that brings us to the fourth principle. It's always contextual. The exact same words can mean completely different things. It all depends on who's saying it, who's hearing it, where you are, what the situation is. Context is king. When we ignore these principles, we slam right into barriers. And it's easy to blame the obvious stuff, right? Oh, I was stressed, or there was a tech issue. But look at this. The single biggest barrier, accounting for a huge 40% of failures, is our own perception. It's internal. This quote just hits the nail on the head. Our perceptions act like filters. They color the information that's coming in before we even have a chance to really process it. If you go into a conversation expecting someone to be hostile, guess what? You'll find hostility in their words, whether they meant it or not. So, to get better at this, we really need a better mental model for how communication actually works. Our understanding has evolved quite a bit, from seeing it as a simple one-way street to something much more like a complex, beautiful symphony. The earliest model was really basic. It was linear, a one-way street. Think of a radio broadcast. You have a sender who transmits a message, and then a passive receiver just gets it. That's it. No interaction, no feedback. Then we got a big upgrade, the interaction model. This was a huge leap because it finally added feedback. The receiver now responds. This model also brings in concepts like noise, any kind of interference, and the idea that we're all encoding and decoding messages. So now we have a two-way street. But it's still a bit like a game of tennis. My turn, then your turn. But the most accurate, and honestly the most brilliant view, is the transactional model. This is a total game changer. Forget tennis. Think of communication like a jazz band improvising together. In any conversation, we are sending and receiving messages at the same time. We're constantly reacting to nonverbal cues, interpreting tone, and sending our own signals all while speaking and listening.
We are co-creating meaning together, in the moment.
So that's the theory, which is great. But how do we actually use all this? Let's open up the playbook and look at the skills that turn all this insight into real-world action.
The foundation for everything is emotional intelligence, or EI. Daniel Goleman broke it down into these 5 pillars. And it's so powerful. Look where it starts, with you. Self-awareness, knowing what's going on inside your own head. Then self-management, being able to direct those emotions productively. You have to nail that part first before you can really understand others and manage your relationships with them. It truly starts from the inside out.
Building on that EI foundation, the best communicators are flexible. They don't just have one style, they have a whole toolkit. When they need to collaborate, they pull out an egalitarian two-way approach. But if they're on a tight deadline for a project, they might switch to a more systematic, data-focused style. And in a crisis, a dominant, directive style might be what's called for. The skill isn't finding one perfect style, it's knowing how to adapt.
Okay, let's bring it all home. Armed with everything we've just talked about, what really happened in that text message meltdown?
It was a complete textbook communication failure. A perfect storm. First, the barrier. Mr. Y's perception was already negative because of a past disagreement. He was already expecting the worst. Second, the principle. The message was irreversible the second he hit send. Third, the model. They weren't in a transaction, they were just launching missiles at each other. And finally, the context. A text message was the absolute worst channel for this. All the tone, nuance, and body language were gone. It was doomed from the start.
And this brings it all back to you. See, effective communication isn't about memorizing the perfect words. It's about understanding the complex system that's always at play. It's about managing your own perceptions, choosing the right context, and remembering that every conversation is a dance, not a battle. So, thinking about your own life, what's the first barrier you need to start breaking through?